Hi guys, it's Heather. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough and kind of first impressions of the Good Tarot today. This is a deck that has been out since, I believe, April 2017. I know it's a deck that's quite well known, so a lot of people have probably already seen this deck, and I'm probably not, showing you anything that you haven't already seen before, but it's new to me and I just wanted to go through it and have a little bit of a discussion about my own thoughts on this particular deck. As I go through the cards, I probably won't have a massive amount to say, but I might have a few things to say about a couple of the cards. So this is probably going to be one that is more visual than audible, yeah, whatever. So it's a Colette Baron Reid deck, and the artwork is by Jenna Della Cortaglia. I don't know if that's how you say her name. I really like these two together. I like their Oracle deck that I have, the Wisdom of the Oracle, I think it is. And I like their artwork. I like the two of them combined, and the deck actually came up on Amazon and it was only like £11. So although I wasn't going to buy another deck this month, I kind of got sucked in by the really good price. And I'd seen some walkthroughs of it and I liked the artwork and I knew it was a deck that I thought was quite pretty. So I just indulged and went ahead and got it. It's a Hay House deck, so it comes in the really good Hay House box. I really like these boxes. They're really sturdy. They stand up quite well on the bookcase. So it's just your standard box there. The guidebook is, as always, a pretty decent sized guidebook. You've got, let's have a look. 116 pages if you don't include the, about the authors and stuff at the back. Now, one of the things I noticed, and one of the things I personally feel about this deck anyway, is that she calls it her Oracle deck. Welcome to my new Oracle card deck, right at the beginning of the book. And I can kind of see how this deck, although it is a tarot deck, it is 78 cards, it uses the format of the tarot system. I can see how this would lend itself more to kind of an oracle system than a tarot system. And when you come to the cards, there's not a massive amount in there. So you have the name of the card, a keyword, and then basically it's just an affirmation. And I think actually, rather than a deck that I would read as a tarot, it's a deck that I would use as an affirmation deck in that respect instead. The minors do have more keywords actually than the majors, which is interesting. So the majors has one keyword, so you've got like Empress, fertility or whatever, and then the minors you've got like Nine of Fire, caution, uncertainty, reevaluating circumstances. So there's a little bit more keywordy for the minors. And rather than, as you can see, rather than pentacles, cups, wands and swords, they've got earth, air, fire and water. So the guidebook doesn't have a massive amount in it, but it's a nice little guidebook for what you get. The cards themselves are oracle card sized rather than tarot sized. I think the backs are beautiful. I love the backs of these. And they're, sturdy cards, good card stock. They are glossy, so they do catch the light quite a bit there. And it's a thick deck. I mean, I think I put my Everyday Witch tarot deck next to it for comparison, and it's quite a bit thicker than a tarot deck as well. So to say, in general, the cards are the same, the names are the same with some changes, but the imagery doesn't necessarily lend itself to a tarot system, as you'll see as I go through the cards. I love this magician. This magician makes me think of St. Nicholas. It's very oldie worldy, Santa Clausy to me. I really, really appreciate that about this. I love it. And the High Priestess, right, for anybody who's seen The Never-Ending Story, where you have the princess that he basically needs to, spoiler alert, rename in order to save the world, their world. I think she reminds me of that princess quite a bit, actually, that face. I just think the artwork's stunning. I love that the emperor has a lion's head. I don't always like this though. I don't always like it when they kind of personify animals in this way, but it's quite subtly done, so it doesn't bother me too much in this particular card. This card, I'm not sure about the proportions of this woman. She doesn't look, I don't know if it's this because she's got this great big hanging thing on or whatever, but there's something really off to me about her proportions, and I'm not overly keen on her face either. But otherwise, yeah, it's an interesting, it's like, and the altar with the symbols on and stuff, if I just saw this card without the name, I'd think this was a reimagining of the Magician and not the Hierophant. Love, I think, has a very different connotation to lovers. I think just changing the word to love changes the meaning of this card completely for me. I love this hermit card. I like the traditional hermit with the lamp, you know, I do like that, but I like this reimagining of this card with the door and the keys. You know, this one just really speaks to me for some reason. So this is the first of the major changes within the majors. You have, rather than death, you've got transformation. I think it's a beautiful card, though. And patience for temperance, I think, is an interesting choice, because temperance to me is about moderation rather than patience. I can see how you could get patience from temperance, but it's not the first thing that I think of when I see temperance. So I think going with the word patience was an interesting choice. But temptation in place of the devil, I totally see, and I love the apple symbolism for temptation. To me, this isn't a tower, it's a fortress, and I think they're different things, but I still like the artwork there. The moon card is just beautiful. I just think it's beautiful. I really like this moon card. Again, you know, I've said before, I said in my last deck walkthrough that I do prefer the traditional way of depicting the moon, but I'm not opposed to people doing things differently, and I like what she's done here. So instead of judgment, you have call, I think that says. And instead of the world, you just have world, which I think taking the out of the cards, I've said this in another video before as well. I think it was the Guild Tarot I was saying that taking the out of the word changes the meaning of that card for me, and changes the whole connotation there. But I kind of get, you know, I kind of like it. I do like it. So each of the suits are, you know, have a very specific colour scheme, so that the air is this very light sort of bluey colour. And instead of knights, she has messengers. I love the owl, it's just beautiful. I do think, though, that I had a quick flick through it, and I found that the minors the pictures don't really lend themselves to the meaning of the cards at all. And I think if this was your very first tarot deck and you wanted to learn tarot and the tarot system, this would be a very difficult deck to learn from and to read with. Which is why I think the, you know, treating it as an oracle deck and using the affirmations is probably a much easier way to read this deck. And then the fire is much darker, it's got much more reds and within it and lots of candles throughout it. The Queen of Fire is a blonde. That's an interesting choice. It's not a choice I would have made. I love that card. I just love that card. The panda, so beautiful. And then water is this bluey green colour with lots of sea animals in. Sea animals, you know, like fish. I love this. And what I found, right, when you turn it upside down, when you look at the picture, you can't really see it on this camera, but when you actually look at the reflection is a child. So it does kind of capture that reflecting on your youth and the nostalgia and stuff in this card. And then your earths are very brown and green. This is another one of my favourite cards in the whole deck. So if I'm completely honest, as a tarot deck, as an actual tarot deck, it kind of sucks. It actually kind of sucks. And I would not use this deck as a tarot deck. I would not read with it as a tarot deck. I don't feel drawn to this deck at all in that way. I can see how it would work as an affirmation deck, working very much with using the book and the affirmations from the book. And maybe as a daily focus for yourself, so a card that you draw and you leave out as a daily focus maybe. But I would never read with this deck as a tarot deck. It just doesn't, to me, lend itself to that way at all. And mainly I bought it because I thought it was pretty. I saw some walkthroughs, I thought it was pretty. It was cheap, and it was a deck that was on my wish list anyway to get at some point, so I thought, why not just do it? So there you go. I know this is a deck that, from what I can gather, kind of splits people down the middle. Some people really, really love it and they really enjoy this deck, and some people I know have had this deck, have not connected to it at all, not really liked it at all, and very quickly passed it on and given it away. It's one that seems to come up a lot in trades and in seller groups and things, because people find that they just can't work with it. So I'd really love to know, if you have this deck, how do you use it? Do you use it as a tarot deck? Do you use it as an oracle deck? Is it just a collector's item for you? Do you enjoy this deck, or do you just think this deck is not for you at all? Drop me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear from you. And whatever you are doing today, I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves and lots of love. Bye-bye.